Appreciating assets. How do I choose them? What do I do with them? And how do I hold with conviction? Before I start, this is not financial advice. On my channel, I just share with you with authenticity, exactly what I do. But I think it's important for me to share how I choose my appreciating assets. So I'm gonna do a little bit of whiteboarding here, okay? So what I do know is that since 1913, the dollar has collapsed 96 to 97% of its purchasing power, okay? So there's our first hint in our education here. So if the dollar's collapsed 96 to 97% and the Feds control interest rates, that's how they control it, right? So if they control interest rates and the dollar's collapsed 96 to 97%, so that gives me a hint on where I am going to choose, okay, where I'm going to choose my assets. Okay, so when I started to learn this, I'm like, okay, wow. So when interest rates go down and money printing goes, so when interest rates go down and they print a bunch of money, okay, what happens to my currency? The value goes down, it becomes worth less, okay? When there's printing of money and the value of the currency goes down, as interest rates come down and money is cheap, eventually there's an inverse effect. It causes inflation. Things become more expensive, okay? So your dollar's value becomes worth less. Okay, so there's our hint right there. That's how I choose, okay? So I know the dollar is becoming worth less, worth less, worth less, worth less. So the dollar for me is income, right? So when income comes in, okay, so when I get income from my businesses, my dividends, okay, I call it cash flow because I flow the cash into assets, okay? So how do I choose my assets? So I look at this. If the dollar's collapsed 96 to 97%, I'm not gonna store my money in cash. I'm gonna move it into something that will grow over time. So what are some things, okay, that grow when cash is worth less? Okay, we got gold. Gold's in an all-time high as I do this video in 2025. We got silver, okay. My Bitcoin's my gold, but we got silver, you got BTC, and I'll explain the why behind these. Xrp, okay, these two, I'm actually in, these three right here. Okay, so let me explain what I mean by this. Okay, so gold is scarce, okay, has supply and demand, so it's scarce. Okay, then you have silver, same thing. Okay, then we have BTC has 21 million in supply. It's written into the code. There'll never be more Bitcoin ever created based on the code. 95% of the supply is gone. 5% is left. Okay. They mine 450 a day for the next 116 years. So what that means is, I have severe dyslexia, so you see I actually write things backwards and I'll misspell stuff. Just bear with me, okay? So 450 a day get released, get mined, okay, for the next 116 years. It's written into the code. Only 5% is left. With treasury companies right now, Michael Saylor being the first one, which became Strategy B MicroStrategies, they're buying about 1,700 a day. Okay, so there's a hint right there for me. Okay, so I saw, oh wow, they mine 450 a day. They're buying 1,700 a day, and America wants to buy 1 million Bitcoin, which would be 5% of the supply. What? So America wants to buy 1 million Bitcoin, 5% of the supply. This top 5 holders are Satoshi, BlackRock, number 2 in Bitcoin now. You got Strategy B, which I just talked about, Strategy B. BlackRock is a top 3 holder in Strategy B. Grayscale in America. Okay, and the Trump family is becoming very wealthy in Bitcoin. So this is an example. If my dollar is becoming worth less, then I personally want to store it into something that's going to become worth more. Fixed supply assets. That's where I'm going with this. Okay, I'm beating inflation. XRP has a lot more, has 100 billion in supply, but it's deflationary based on its utility. Okay, so this is deflationary based on its utility. So you got things like gold, you got things like silver, you got things like BTC, XRP. As I'm doing this video, BTC has peaked to its all-time high, silver, and gold. Now, why is that? Because the dollar has become worth less. They printed more money in history from 2020 to 2024, devaluing your currency by 24%. We had 24% inflation. So you see, this is what you see. You see $1 million in your bank account, okay? It's the trick. Sorry, my dyslexia there. You see $1 million. Oh, gosh, did I get that right? You see $1 million in your bank account, okay? Because you see this number, it looks like $1 million to you, okay? I see that just this year in 2025, you've lost 11% of purchasing power. That's what I see. I don't see $1 million. I see 11% less value in this dollar. It's not that money's becoming worth less. Things aren't becoming more expensive. Money's becoming worth less. Okay. In 1913, with $1, you could buy an apple, right? How many apples can that dollar buy today? Maybe 10. But vice versa. 10 apples with $1, and now you can maybe buy one, maybe if you're lucky. Okay. What you see with my crypto is you see this. Okay, you see Bitcoin at 110, and then you see it down to 99. Okay, you see XRP at $2.40, and then you see it down at 199. Okay, I see this. You see this, and I see this. My XRP has gone up 800% since 2020. Okay, my BTC, I'm not telling you what to invest in. This is how I look at this. Okay, has gone up 200%. Okay, so as the world lost 24% purchasing power, I increased my cash flow into BTC, into XRP, and this is how I grew them. Now, other smart money is moving into gold, into silver. This is why Larry Fink says when countries are worried about debasement of their currency, Bitcoin might be a good strategy. He went from Bitcoin's a fraud to the number 2 holder in Bitcoin and saying that, oh, maybe countries should use BTC if they're worried about the debasing their currency. So going back to, how do I choose them? Based on this. Your dollar is going to continue to deflate. They're actually going to continue to deflate it even more because they're going to lower interest rate and they're going to print more money. Okay. What do I do with them? Okay. So when I have appreciation from these assets, okay, if you understand my capital DR strategy, when I appreciate these assets, I actually buy more cash flow. And then what do I do with the cash flow? I buy more deflationary assets. I put it into protection, okay? And hold with conviction. So what does this mean? The reason why I don't get flooded out of things like BTC, XRP, I have Solana. I'll share with you my top 7, okay? Not financial advice, I'm just being transparent. XLM, WLFI, World Liberty Financial, yep. WLFI, let me rewrite that real quick. WLFI, and next would be HBAR, and then VeChain. And I have many other, but these are my top. These are my top by a long shot right here, okay? Oh, let's go here. XRP is going to be number 1. Okay, so XRP is number 1, BTC number 2, in that order, okay? So why do I hold these with conviction? Because I understand what I'm investing in. BTC is a store of value for me like gold, right? The largest asset manager in the world is the number 2 holder. XRP is a bridge currency. I understand it. I'm an ex-banker. I understand it's a bridge liquidity. We got a layer 1 right here. I think it's a layer 1 that's going to change the system. We got XLM. Jed McCaleb left Ripple to create XLM. This is consumer. This is more consumer. This is more commercial. WFI, Trump created his own World Liberty Financial. Steve Witkoff, Trump, the Trump boys and the Witkoff family created WFI. They have the fastest growing stablecoin, USD1. Okay, and they're creating a DeFi platform that I believe is going to be a world bank. HBAR, okay, you got infrastructure, right? We got payment as well, and then we got supply chain. I understand all these at a very, 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 very deep level. That's why I'm convicted. I'm never selling my BTC, ever. My other ones, I'm exiting 50% on the way up, okay? So let's recap. How do I choose them? I choose them based on my assets, based on deflationary, fixed supply that beats inflation. Your dollar, you become poor every single year if you don't beat inflation. Your dollar's inflating. It's not that things are getting more expensive. Your dollar's becoming worthless. I take the worthless dollar and I put it into things that will grow over time, okay? What do I do with them, right? When I appreciate on the altcoin side, I take profits, I put more into cash flow, I put more into protection, okay? And then how do I hold with conviction? Because I understand these at a very deep level. I hold with conviction because I follow macro and microeconomics, and I move my money through the system based on interest rates, deflationary or devaluation of the dollar, and when inflation kicks in, I make sure I'm on the right side of the interest quadrant. So I hope that helps. How I choose them, what I do with them, those are my top 7. Again, not financial advice, but on this channel, we share with you exactly what we're doing. Warriors, rise, get your shit together.